Well, I don't know if I should go back to school or I should build a bunker. I'm not quite sure. But after today, my brain is so full. What a wonderful day, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. And I'm excited and nervous to share my story with you this morning. It's not the morning. It's tonight. 10 years ago, I was a 31-year-old stay-at-home mom who never stayed home. I loved every minute of my life. I had two young boys, Jake and Sam. They were 9 and 6 at the time. And if you had asked me then, I would have told you that I really, truly loved my life. It didn't mean I didn't have challenges, just like we all do. Would like more money in my bank account, or maybe a bigger house or a better car. But I really, really loved my life. In the fall of that year, after not feeling good, I got diagnosed with a blood disorder called MDS. And the only cure for it is a bone marrow transplant. I didn't have a donor, and I got sick really, really fast. I went from running 1,000,000 miles an hour, drinking everything in that life had to offer me, to wondering how I could get out of the car, bring my groceries in, and engage in life that I really, really loved. The hardest part about being sick wasn't so much the physical side, it was more the unbecoming of me. I had this life that I was so engaged in and loved so deeply that I had to navigate this new me that I didn't really know how to do, and that was the toughest part. I always loved running. I had done it my whole adult life. I found it to be the one place that my brain could be quiet, that I could enjoy everything around me without the distraction of my to-do list. Well, being as sick as I was, I couldn't run. That spring, when we were kind of trying to figure out what to do, I didn't have the donor, we were waiting on some answers, a bunch of friends got together and they ran a triathlon in my honor. I had known about triathlon, I dabbled in it a little bit, but they were doing it for me. And I gotta tell you, it was a mixture of being overwhelmed and inspired at the same time. When I was at the finish line for that race, I was watching them come across, and I thought, wow, they're doing this for me? What it did for me was gave me a determination, because as I watched them cross that finish line, I decided right then and there, if I could beat this thing, I would come back and I would do that triathlon. Well, we found a drug trial up in Seattle that I was a candidate for, which was a great thing, and it was full of hope for me. So I got to go up there and be a part of it. As soon as I got the okay, which was about 3 months after my treatment, and I'm pretty sure I had my running shoes on when I made this phone call, I asked my doctor, can I start training? Can I start running? He said, yeah, sure. Phone down, out the door I went. I would get my shoes on, and I would run out the door, and then I would call my husband and say, Mark, can you come pick me up? I'm at the corner of 41st and Portola. Yeah, I'll come get you. He'd pick me up, and he'd say, seriously, why can't you just do a loop? And I'd say, I gotta go as far as I possibly can. And so he would take me home, and I trained, and I did that triathlon. Now, I can't say that I was fast, but I gotta tell you, when I came across that finish line, my life changed. And it wasn't so much the fact that I swam this kind of short distance, or got on my bike, or ran. It was the fact that I made a decision to move my body. And when I moved my body, a new me sort of began to emerge. I had always loved working with women and had just the great pleasure of coming alongside friends and doing life together. I got to combine my love of movement with my love of working with women and helping them find their best, and became a triathlon coach. The more I raced, the stronger I got, the healthier I got. There was this little whisper in the back of my head, and it said, Ironman. I don't know if you know what an Ironman is, but it's totally ridiculous. In one day, which as everybody would say, in a day, 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then a full marathon. No problem. Every time I talked about it, my friends and family would say to me, okay, seriously, you just couldn't get out of the car a year ago. You're not doing an Ironman. Oh yeah? Let's see. I couldn't make the decision myself. That was a tough one. That was pretty big. So I was going to be up in Seattle, and I knew that a doctor would be there that was both a triathlete as well as a specialist in my disease. And I thought, if anybody can tell me, this guy can. So I went up to him in the middle of a break and said it quietly so maybe he wouldn't hear me, so he wouldn't answer me, so I wouldn't have to do it. Dr. Mesa, can I do an Ironman? Of course you can. Just listen to your body. Oh, okay, I guess I'm doing an Ironman. So I did. I listened to my body. I trained hard. I got to go to that race with all of my friends and family there, my kids there, my husband, my parents, everybody there cheering me on, and with my girlfriend, crossed that finish line. It was awesome. And I knew in that moment that yet another level of this life that I got to lead was going to be revealed. The sheer joy of crossing that finish line after what I'd done to get there and all the people around me loving me to get me there was something I hadn't anticipated. So I decided I'd do it again. What the heck? It was so great the first time. So I went back just a year later, and while I was in the water getting ready to start that morning, I knew something was wrong. I had a feeling that my body was fighting for something. I just didn't know what. So I did that race, and about 6 weeks later, I found out that I was now dealing and fighting with another disease that was more deadly and faster acting. Really? Yeah, I guess so. I guess whatever I was supposed to learn the first time, I didn't quite get. So I walked through that process, and I knew, looking back from the time I had been diagnosed in 2001, that I had made a choice every single day that each of us have to make. And today, we're learning so much about that it all comes down to your choice and my choice. When I think back, and just recently, actually, a part of this process of coming here today, I realized that there was a conversation that happened that I didn't even realize would change my life. And that was that conversation with Dr. Mesa. When I asked him if I could do an Ironman, what I know now is I could have asked him anything in the world. I was asking for something that I needed, and I didn't know it. In that moment, he gave me permission. What did I need permission for? I needed permission to love this body in all of its frailty, in all of its brokenness, so that I could love you. When we love who we are, when we give ourselves permission to love every bit of the messiness, the mistakes, the joys, and the sorrows as of who we are, we can change the world. When we hold that in and we decide that what this isn't good enough, how can we change it? How can we do the things that have been given to you today, the ways that we can live together in harmony and unity? How can we do that if we don't love ourselves? Man, I'm glad he gave me permission. As a result of that, remember, I love my life, but I have gotten to do some things that I never thought possible. With my very good friend that's here today with me, we started a nonprofit where we take women down to Mexico and we build a house in a single day for a single mom. And not only does that single mom get a roof over her head, but those women that we bring down there with us, their whole world changes. And maybe they don't come home and think they're going to go live in a hut somewhere and dedicate their lives to building houses, but you know what? They're better wives, they're better mothers, they're better community members, they're better everything. All of us have something that we're waiting for. If we didn't, our world would look really different, don't you think? If we truly loved this that we have here, our world would be amazing. I've gotten to start a running club for young girls, free, after school, for 2nd through 5th graders, to teach them that they are powerful, beautiful, strong, and everything they need to be, no matter who they are. And I see myself in them every time I'm there. And I see every woman I get to interact with that's waiting to live their life. I'm here to tell you today that I'm still fighting, But not only am I fighting to be alive and be here with you, I'm fighting to love me so that I can love you, and that we can love our neighbors, we can love our community, and we can love our planet. Stop waiting. Love who you are. I'm here today to give you permission. Thank you.